The thing that distinguishes the Hizmet movement is that people are donating money, but they're going themselves also and doing it, and devoting their lives to doing it. Essential. It's interesting. A good bit of it, as I understand, for example, in Anatolia. My name is David Newton. I'm a retired diplomat, Foreign Service officer. I served as a diplomat for about 40 years, and more than 20 of that in the Arab world. I was ambassador to Iraq and to Syria, so very close to Turkey. I never had the pleasure of serving in Turkey, but I visited the country 7 times, and I really enjoy coming there. Istanbul especially is a wonderful place. Hizmet as a movement, I think, is very unusual. I mean, for example, charity is an obligation, a strong obligation in Islam, and there are many people in the richer countries, in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, who donate a good deal of money. But what's missing is that they give this money to other people to use to carry out the charitable activities. The thing that distinguishes the Hizmet movement is that people are donating money, but they're going themselves also and doing it, and devoting their lives to doing it. I suppose you can find some examples historically, but it's hard to think of an organized, it's not an organ, but of a movement, of a large-scale movement like that. I'm sure we could think of some in Europe and so forth in the United States, but not one that is so directly affected by one's religious belief. It really is, there are very few people you can cite to think of who can inspire that many people as Hoca Efendi has inspired hundreds of thousands of people in the end to do something better with their life and to help other people. It really is, you don't find many people like that. But this really is an unusual movement, and you know, Hoca Efendi will not live forever, so it's good that it's decentralized. It depends on individuals so that it can keep its strength and its determination to go ahead. And I think it should, you know, it should appeal to people of other religions too, to see what they're doing to cooperate with it and to emulate the kind of things that it's doing. Hizmet as a movement also, and of course Hoca Efendi is notable for interfaith dialogue, for he's met with the Pope, met with the Sephardic chief rabbi in Israel, with the Greek Orthodox ecumenical patriarch. I mean, to me, this makes eminent sense. I'm a Unitarian, and Unitarians believed in the equality of religions, and we are a religion actually without a creed, in which the religion is individual in the person. But with just a bit of sophistication, people can understand that just because they believe that they have found the true religion shouldn't mean that everyone else's religion is false. I mean, most people follow the religion into which they were born. And you can hardly condemn people if you say that you have the real religion and these people have never heard of it or seen it. Obviously, there's only one God, and that people find different ways to reach this worship of the one God. And it doesn't mean that by having an interfaith dialogue, it doesn't mean that you have to say, well, yours is the true religion also, not just mine. You can still maintain your religion, but understand that other people have other beliefs and other points of view which you should respect. And you can find common beliefs. Certainly Christians, Jews, and Muslims can find many common beliefs, and they can celebrate those common beliefs without giving up their own religion. And we all know very well that horrible things have been done in the name of religion, and mostly these things have been done by promoting intolerance, hatred of other people, and that this is one of the most important things we have to fight against in the world. So toleration means not abandoning your religion, but understanding and welcoming people who have a different point of view but have things in common with you. Yeah, Hizmet is a movement which has grown very fast and so forth, and has expanded out of Turkey into the world, which certainly, for people who are aware of what it's doing, is a very positive impression, gives a very positive impression of the Turkish people themselves and the country. But of course, the people who are doing it are not doing it to promote Turkey. They're doing it out of sense of religious obligation to help other people. And I think Turkey is now a reasonably prosperous country, like countries in Europe and in the United States, and I think we all feel an obligation that people who are better off have an obligation to help people who are in terrible trouble, whether it's Somalia or other places in Africa or Haiti, whatever. I think we all feel this obligation. It doesn't mean that people are not doing a great deal in the Hizmet movement. They're doing a great deal in Turkey itself. I mean, most of the effort is still within Turkey, but there's also an obligation that we all have to the rest of the world. And although this is not done with the intention of promoting a positive view of Turkey, I think it certainly does help. But it also promotes a different, more positive view of the religion of Islam, which is equally important. And I think in many ways even more important, because Turkey does not really suffer from war prejudice, but Islam as a religion does. And I think that's the greater benefit for people. And I think for devout Muslims, I think we would all see value in this kind of activity. Yes, Turkey is a modern country, of course, as in terms of its government structure. Society has much more in common with Europe than it does with the Arab world. But Churchill said democracy was the worst form of government except when you consider all the other alternatives. Democracy, whatever its failings, is still easily the best form of government. But the problem is, of course, power. It's very difficult to sustain a democracy. You have to have, in the democratic system, you have to have tolerance, because if you win this time, you can't just eliminate every opposition. They have to have a chance too. And therefore, you have to have some constraints on the people who run the government and power. Otherwise, they will take advantage of their power, especially if there's no other economy than the government. Then they will, as we've seen in the Arab world, they will get in government and never want to leave. So that one of the essentials, well, there are several essentials, a free press, an independent judiciary, and then civil societies, so that people who do not have a vested interest in government have space to discuss issues, to discuss problems, and to point out any abuses in the government, because even the best of governments commits abuses. People are human, and power corrupts people. So that we're having this debate in the United States over the limits of government. And the government is designed to, I think, to make sure that democracy in which people are equal continues, and that the free economy, which is designed to make people unequal, does not make people so unequal that it clashes with democracy. It has to work between the two. And you need other organizations to support these efforts and to keep an eye on these efforts. And it's striking because I think if you, in a non-democratic country, if you had a movement as widespread and as powerful in the sense of its ability to motivate people to good, and the amount of activity it's doing in a non-democratic movement, the first thing the government would try to do is to take it over. It's difficult, I think, for people to understand, therefore, how you can have such a widespread movement now coming out of Turkey and working in many countries. They somehow think, well, there must be somebody directing this, somebody in charge. But if you look at the Hoca Efendi, you realize this is not a man who's directing, who's running anything. This is a man who's inspiring people.
I think the Hizmet movement represents Islam very effectively in dialogue with the modern world, with modern forms of education on all their levels, and in promoting interreligious respect and tolerance.